Hello and welcome to March's gift make along tutorial. So if you're not familiar, if you're new here, my name's Tanya. This is our channel. I say our, me and my son. Karma's a Stitch, and this is where we talk about our crafting stuff. But what I decided to do for 2024 is the first Sunday of each month release a tutorial that is something small and quick that you could craft. And when I say craft, it's going to be pretty much knitting and crochet, because those are the two main crafts and hobbies that I do. And the idea is so that if you were to make Januaries and Februaries throughout the entire year, come December, when a lot of us are like, oh gosh, I'd love to give hand knitted or handcrafted gifts, you have a box of things that you've made throughout the year that were quick and easy, and you have these things that you can pull from or make quickly. And that is sort of the idea behind what we're doing. So this month we are doing a crochet bowl. Okay, and so today the tutorial that you're logged into, the tutorial, this could be a basket next to your couch. It's a pretty good size, but I feel like the instructions are simple enough that you could make just about any size. This particular bowl has handles, and that is what this tutorial is. Now, as you're watching this tutorial, you will see me talk about the rows, the rounds that I did going up, and you'll hear me reference 10 rounds. And I need to correct that, because what I had ultimately did, and the reason I feel it's important to correct that is because if you go and you get the same wool that I used with the same yardage, I want to make sure you know how much you're actually going to get for that. So that's why I feel it's important for me to correct it. So when I did this, I used all of this light blue. And as soon as it got time to change, I just immediately went into the dark blue. And then I did the 10 rounds total. I did the 10 rounds, and then I realized I didn't have enough to go over these handles like I wanted to. And so I ended up taking back to 9 rows for the height of this bowl. And then I did my handles. Now, I did not record me tearing out that 10th row. I do mention it in the tutorial, but I wanted to give a little better explanation for that. So I did only do 9 rows for the height of this bowl. And there is a written pattern available on the Ko-fi page, on the Ko-fi page. If you see in the description box below, if you see that link for the Ko-fi page, then that means that I've gotten the written pattern finished. It is started, it's underway, but I don't want to just slap it up there, and tomorrow is Sunday. So I want to make sure that I get this video up and live so that I can stay true to what I said I was going to do. But I am still putting the final touches on this written pattern, and I may finish that up tomorrow. And once it's available on the Ko-fi page, I will have that available down below. One thing that I do want to mention is that this particular size basket or bowl, whatever you'd like to call it, is the only one talked about in this pattern. There is a formula that I use that tells me how many stitches to put in between the handles so that they're evenly spaced. That formula is available in the written pattern. I did not go into it too much in this video tutorial because I really wanted to keep these videos as short as possible. The other thing I want to mention is I also made one with a lid. This one does not have a handle. Okay, this does not have a handle. There is a lid. I am working on getting this tutorial, and I've had it sitting up on my desk, but I'm working on getting this tutorial up and available by Monday. So this one, I really do love. So I did this one with the lid. I'll have that video and that tutorial up on hopefully Monday, because I did videotape a tutorial for that, and that will be available on the Ko-fi page as well. As you watch this tutorial, I want you to understand I am not a professional tutorial maker. I have children, and I have a home and a life, and at one point in time you're going to hear my dryer going, and you're going to hear an air fryer going, and you're going to hear my daughter running and laughing, and that's just part of life, and I can't stop those things from happening. So please just bear that in mind as you're watching this video. So yeah, I can't really stop that kind of stuff from happening, but like I record a lot of times with earbuds in because I feel like it picks up my voice, but these earbuds are noise canceling earbuds so that I can really focus on what I'm doing. And with this particular video, I did not realize how much of the background noise was being picked up. So please forgive. I've tried to adjust the volume so it's not really horrific. But that is pretty much what occurred. I had noise canceling headphones in. I did not realize how much of the background noise was being picked up because I couldn't hear it. So you guys, I really do hope that you enjoy the video. I hope you enjoy the tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I love chatting with folks. So with that, happy crafting, happy March 2024. I cannot believe it's already March, and I hope everybody's doing well. Bye. Hi guys, so for this bowl, I'm going to be using, this was wool that was sent to Anthony, and he said that if I give him the bowl that we make today, that I could use this wool. So this is Reynolds Bulky Loki. There's 100 grams and 67 yards in this. It is 100% virgin wool made in Iceland. Pretty bulky stuff, and it is really rough. Like, I don't know if you guys can see the fibers in this, but it's a pretty scratchy wool. And I've got 4 skeins of it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start the bottom of the bowl with holding these 2 together, this blue and the black, and then when I run out, I'm going to hold these 2 together for the top of the bowl. Now, what I've been doing starting a project, I'm going to get my wool wound. I am going to be starting this off with a 10mm hook or a size N. I may need to adjust that or modify it depending on what fabric I get, but we're going to start with this. So I'm going to get this wound and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got all of them wound. And now, because I am keeping track of my yardage that I'm using this year, I'm going to actually weigh each skein. I know that the ball band says that there's 100 grams in each one, and I just want to verify. So for this one, there's actually 109. So if you have looked at my spreadsheet, I put the 100, anyway, that's a whole nother video, but I am entering this in a spreadsheet. The dark blue is 101, and black is 101, and the second black one is only 90. So
there I have weighed each one of the skeins, and I know exactly how much I'm starting with, which is important to me, mainly because I am keeping track. If you're not keeping track of how much wool you craft with this year, this part's not important to you. So I can get rid of the scale. Now I am gonna, like I said, I'm gonna start with my smaller black one, because I'm going to see, you still have some, I mean, this is some pretty raw wool, and you still have some hay in here. So I am going to start with the smaller skein of black, and I pull from the center, and I'm going to start with the dark blue. No, I'll start with the light blue on the bottom. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Now we will be working with 2 strands held together, okay? 2 bulky strands held together, which is going to take a little getting used to if you aren't familiar with doing that. Now we're going to start this bowl off with making a magic loop. So I lay it across all 4 to make the magic loop. I'm going to close my ring and pinky down over the tail, and then I bring the 2 strands up and I make an X, okay? So I went up across all 4 fingers, closed these 2, and bring it right around. I'm going to take my crochet hook, go underneath, and I'm going to pull this through. Okay, and it kind of gives it a little twist. And I'm going to do 1 single crochet here. You can pull your fingers out with both strands. Okay, so you're going to pull both strands to make a single crochet. And that kind of locks the tail in place, and this is now the magic loop or magic ring, whatever you'd like to call it. Now we are going to do 8 single crochets into this loop, and we're going to do it right over this tail. Okay, so we have our tail, we're going to just go right over the tail. So I'm going to go into the circle, pull it through, and we're going through both. So there's 1. We're going to do that 8 times into the center, and trying to figure out how is best for you to hold. This is pretty thick, so trying to figure out the best way to hold it might be, just be patient with yourself. It might just take you a little bit. There's 2, see, 1 and 2. Three. 4. Don't lose your tail. Make sure you hold on. You got enough here you can pull. Don't lose that. 5. 6. 7. 8. Okay, and if you want to double check, don't count the loop that's on your hook, but count these little links. There's 1, see how it comes down to a V? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And this right here is the one we just did to lock it onto the magic ring. Now, we're going to pull our tail, and that's going to cinch up that circle, okay? So I have the 2 strands of the tail. I'm just gonna, I'll pull this up a little bit so I don't lose my stitch. And I'm just gonna pull that, and it's gonna cinch up that circle. So it's closed right there on the bottom. You see that? So then I have my tail, and I'm just gonna leave that down there. If you want to crochet over it, you can. I'm just gonna weave mine in at the end. Now, when you're crocheting in the round, sometimes you'll take this hook, okay, this stitch here on your hook, And you would go into this first stitch and do a slip stitch so that you're joining this round, you're kind of closing this ring up. We're not going to do that. We're just going to continuously go around. However, we are going to mark our first stitch with a stitch marker. So let's grab a stitch marker here. Let's see what I have handy. I want that blue one right there. Okay, so I'm just going to use this blue stitch marker when I get my first stitch. So this is my first round. Now our second round, okay, I'm going to go into each one of these stitches and I'm going to do 2 single crochets. So for round 2, I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And the first one might be a little bit tight, but make sure you go under. See, I've got, if you look here, I've got 4 strands. I've got the blue and the black on this side of the link and the blue and the black on the other side. And I want to make sure I go underneath all 4 of those strands. Okay, and then I've got that whole stitch and I'm going to do a single crochet. So there's my first stitch. Oops. I'm just going to mark my, oops. I'm just going to mark my first stitch right here. Okay, and now I'm going to go into that same stitch and do that a second time. So I've got 2 stitches coming out of this same previous stitch from round 1. So for round 2, I'm going to do 2 single crochets into each stitch from the previous round. And when I started round 1 with 8 stitches, that means I'll end round 2 with 16 stitches. Now, I want this to be a little bit tight, okay? Because I want if it's too loose, it's not going to hold its form very well. So I want it to be a little bit tight to hold its form really well for me, okay? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go all the way around doing 2 single crochets in each stitch. Make sure you're pulling it through both strands. So you're treating both of these stitches as if they're one strand of yarn, okay? So make sure you go underneath all of it. And because we are doing a tighter stitch and we're working with some bulkier, heavier yarn, make sure you take the time to loosen up your hands, stretch out your wrists, and take a break if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to go back and count these. I should have 16, not counting the loop that's on my hook. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 right here where my marker is. Okay, so that was round 2. Now I'm going to tell you, and I'm hoping I can explain this. I've been thinking about it all morning. I'm hoping I can find a way to explain this because it's so simple, and it's the best way I know how to keep track of my increase pattern. Okay, so I'm getting ready to start round 3. So there's gonna, each increase is gonna take the span of 3. I'll be doing 3 stitches. So for round 3, there's 3 stitches for an increase, okay? So I'm going to go into this first stitch, which I had marked, and I'm going to do stitch 1 and stitch 2 in the same stitch from previous round 2. Okay, so I've done 2 stitches, 1, 2. I'm going to put my stitch marker on there to mark. That's my first stitch. So I've done stitch 1 and stitch 2. Now stitch 3 is going to be a single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so stitch 1 and 2 in the same stitch from the previous round, and then stitch 3 on its own. Okay, stitch 1 and 2 in the same stitch from the previous round, and then stitch 3. And that way, as I go around on my increases, I'm going to count 1, 2, and 3 is by itself. Okay, stitch 1 and 2 are always going to be done in the same stitch. Okay, does that make sense? So 1 and 2 are going to go in the same stitch from the previous round, and 3 is on its own. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. One, 2, and 3. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm back at the beginning of my round. Now this is forming the base of my bowl. All right, so if I wanted to get a measuring tape and measure this, maybe I want the base of my bowl to be something, maybe I want something smaller like this. And that's when I could start building my walls, or maybe I want something a bit bigger. Okay, so that's where we're going to measure everything. Figure out what size bowl you want. I've just decided I'm going to use half of my wool, or slightly less than half of my bowl or wool. I'm going to use slightly less than half of my wool, building the base, and then I'll use the remainder to build the walls. So I don't know how big this bowl is going to be yet, because I'm just using what I had on hand. But that's how we're going to do it. Let's see if we can measure this. Okay, so at the end of round 3, I am right about 4 inches. So we're going to keep right on going. So looking at how I had just said that the increases for round 3, we're going to use 3 stitches. Stitches 1 and 2 always go in the same stitch from the previous round. Now, getting ready to do stitch 4, or round 4. So round 4 is still an increase round. Stitches 1 and 2 go in the same stitch, and then we've got stitch 3 and 4 single crochets into the next 2 stitches. So let me show you what I'm talking about. We're going to go in, we're on round 4 now, so stitch 1 and 2 in the same stitch from the previous round. Mark it, okay, and then we've got stitch 3 and then stitch 4 into the next one. So now we're counting to 4, knowing that 1 and 2 go in the same stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you're just counting to 4. You're on round 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that's how we're going to carry around for the increase rounds. Round 4, we're doing 4 stitches. Stitches 1 and 2 always go in the same stitch from the previous round. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. Okay, so we just finished round 4. Now round 4, let's see how much. What do you think? What do you think one round gave us? Another inch. That's excellent. So round 5, let's see. So round 5, if we carry on with this same theory, round 5, still an increase round. It's gonna go, we're gonna use 5 stitches. Stitches 1 and 2 are always in the same stitch, and then we'll do a single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Does that make sense? So now with round 5, we'll go across, we'll use 5 stitches for the increases, stitches 1 and 2 in the same, and then 3 stitches in the next 3 single crochets from the previous round. So instead of counting to 4, now we'll count to 5. Okay, so we'll take our stitch marker out. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. 1, 2, in the same stitch below. 3, 4, and 5. Okay, you're going to keep going all the way around until you get back to this first marker. So at the end of round 5, we should have 40 stitches. So we're going to do 2 in the next stitch, and then single, single, single for 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So stitches 1 and 2 always go into the same stitch from the previous round, and when we get all the way back to the beginning, we'll count our stitches and we should be at 40. Okay, this is my last one. So let's count, not counting the one that was on our hook. Okay, so we've got 1, you see how we're counting those with the V here? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. Okay, so 40 is this stitch right here, and you can't really tell because I pinched both of these, but this is 40 right here. Okay, okay, so that was row 5. I still want my base to be, sorry about the wiggling, I want my base a bit bigger. Okay, so I'm going to keep right on going along. I'm going to keep going all the way around, and I'll post or I'll record the beginning of each round so you can keep on track if you'd like, but you need to decide for you how wide you want your base. Okay, and once you've decided that, you stop there. Okay, and then we'll meet up whenever I have my base, then I'll show you how to build up the walls. All right, so I'll see you guys right back here. If you're gonna keep going and you're gonna keep with the increases, this will be round 6. So round 6, we'll count up to 6 stitches, the first 2 going in the same stitch below. So we're gonna go in here, we're gonna count to 6 this time, okay? 1, 2, in the same stitch. There's 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now stitches 1 and 2 always go in the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, So if you notice it's getting a little wonky, that's okay. Okay, it will lay flat once we start to put the walls on there. But right now, and I'm really happy because I'm able to form it. I can bend it. This tells me it's going to hold true to its form when I'm finished, which makes me really happy. Okay, so let's see where we're at. I'm at about 7.5 inches. I'm gonna keep going. So round 7 is gonna take 7 stitches, right? Stitches 1 and 2 go in the same, and then the next 5 stitches are gonna go into the next 5 single crochets are gonna go in their own stitch from the previous round. And make sure you are stretching out your hands. Okay, this is some heavy weight, and keeping your tension, it's heavy work. So you don't want to wear out your fingers or your wrists. And I have really bad carpal tunnel. This is something that I've struggled with for a long time. So make sure you're taking care of your body. All right. It's very easy to overdo it, especially when you're doing something new and you're trying to keep a tighter tension. Don't hurt yourself. So make sure you take a minute to get a drink of water, take a minute to get a snack, shake out your wrists, shake out your hands, but make sure you're taking care of yourself while you're working on this, okay? Let's keep going. So round 7, I'm gonna count to 7. Stitches 1 and 2 are gonna go in the same stitch, okay? There's 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, 1 and 2 are going to go in the same stitch the previous round. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and we're going to do that all the way around. I think I'm going to go one more round. I really want this to be a nice sized bowl for Anthony. So I think I'm gonna do one more round, at least. So this will be round 8. And with round 8, you guessed it, we will be doing 8 stitches. Stitches 1 and 2 going in the same stitch from the previous round. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2 in the same stitch, 3, 7, and 8. And I'm right back to the beginning of my round. And it's all crinkly, can you see that? It all looks cattywampus, but it is going to lay out and give us such a great form. And this will be the bottom of our bowl. Let's see where we're at here. So 8 rounds has given me almost 10 inches, not quite, but almost. So I'm going to stop there because I think this is about how big Anthony would love his bowl to be. And now let's talk about how to change so that we're going, so that we can build up the walls. Okay, so this will be the bottom, okay, and we're gonna go up the walls. All right, so when we decide that we have the base diameter, okay, across that we want, now you know how we've just continuously gone around and around and around, and we haven't joined in the round. Right now is going to be the only time that we do that in this project. So I'm going to remove my marker. I'm going to go into this first stitch and I'm going to do a slip stitch. Okay, this is my first stitch right here. I'm going to do a slip stitch into that stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to chain 1. Now In order to form the sides, we are going to go in, you know how we counted, and you can see the V here. So this is one stitch, and we've got a blue and a black strand here. And I'm sorry it's so difficult to see, but we've got a blue and a black for the back part of the V and a blue and a black for the front part of the V. We, for this next round, and I'm going to say for me it's round 9, we're just going to go into the back loop, but when we do that, we make sure we pick up the blue and the black. So I've joined it with the slip stitch, I've chained one. Now I'm going to go back into that very first stitch. See, I've got it joined here where I did my slip stitch, but I need to go back into that same stitch, and I'm just going to go into the back part, and it's going to be tight, but you want to make sure that you get all the strands. Maybe you're using 3 strands. I'm using black and blue. I'm just going to go into the back strand, and I'm going to do a single crochet. Okay, so there's my first single crochet, and I'm going to mark it. There's my first one, and I'm just going into the back loop, and I'm going to do a single crochet, no increases. I'm just going to go in the back loop all the way around. So I did 8 rounds, which left me with 64 stitches per round. So now I'm going to go into my next stitch, just the back loop. You see my V here. Normally I'm picking up both front and back, but right now I'm just going to go in the back and do a single crochet. Now let me see if I can show that to you a little bit closer. Let me finish this one. Whew, that was a tough one. Okay, so where did I put my tapestry needle, you guys? Do you see it anywhere? Oh, there it is. Okay, so previous rounds, okay, we have been going under both the front and the back loop, front and back loop. We're picking up the black and the blue on the front and the black and blue on the back. Okay, this is where we've been going in, right here. Okay, but for this round, we're gonna just pick up these stitches. So we have our V here. We're gonna go in between the 2 legs of the V and only pick up the back strands of our work. And we're gonna do that all the way around. Okay, our stitch count is not going to change because we're not doing any increases this round. Okay, so we're going to do our single crochets all the way around. And this is going to help give the base of our bowl a little bit of stability and a really beautiful edge at the bottom. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. Make sure you pick up both of the strands. I'm just going all the way around. Okay. So now, by just picking up that back loop, these beautiful little lace bits right here, this is the front loop that we did not pick up. So as we sit this here, this is going to be the very bottom base of our bowl. So instead of looking like these single crochets, by picking up the back loop, it's just giving us a really nice edge formed by the front part of those stitches. So let's continue all the way to the end of this round. So here we are, very first stitch that we started this round on. Here's our chain 1 where we joined it, so I need to make sure I get this last stitch from our previous round. Okay, so here we are, and let me just, oh, this tension on this bowl is just perfect because it really is just taking form and keeping it perfectly. I'm so excited. So here we have our bowl so far. Isn't that pretty? So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go round and round and round, no increases, okay? And we're going to go back to, we don't need to join this because we're just going to go continuous. I am going to continue, and we are going to go under both legs of the V, the front and the back, okay? So the black and the blue of each stitch. So the front and the back, both strands, okay? So I'm going to pick up both legs of each stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet into each stitch all the way around until I reach the height of the bowl. So this is round 10 for me, and I'll probably do 10 rounds, and then I'll come back and check in with you. But I'm going into both legs all the way around for however many rounds I decide. This is basically going to be deciding the height of your bowl. And so for Anthony here, I'm gonna go for 10 and then decide how much bigger I want it. Okay, so here we go, and I will meet you guys back here after I've completed 10 rows, and I may continue, I may do more. I haven't decided if I'm gonna put handles on this one or not, but we'll see. So let's just go all the way around, picking up both legs, single crochet, and when you get back here, oops, I lost it, it's right there. So when we get back to our beginning of round, we're gonna make sure that we are just continuing. We don't have to join, we don't have to do that slip stitch and chain up one. It's just gonna be a continuous all the way around as we build the walls of this, okay? So I'll see you guys back here. Okay, so I am working away. I haven't reached 10 rows yet. 1, 2, 3, I'm working on row 4 at the moment. And I've reached the end of this light blue. So I'm gonna go ahead and just join in the dark blue, and I'm gonna keep right on going. I'm not gonna worry about trying to get it at the beginning of the round. So I'm gonna keep going till I don't have much left. Now, going to hold. Sorry, I'm gonna get this in here. I'm gonna pull all 3 colors through, not just the one, Tanya. Come on. All 3, if I can get them on there. Pull all 3 colors through. And now I've got my 2 tails, my light one and my dark blue tail, and I'm just going to move them off to the side. And from here on, I'm just going to work with my dark blue and my black, and I'm going to run my 2 tails across the top. So I'm to do my single crochet, and I'm just going to wrap all my stitches now right over. I'm going to have my tail across the top of my work, and as I do these single crochets, I'm just wrapping those two tails in. Okay, so you see how I've got the two tails, the light and the dark, just resting on the top of my work. So I'll go into my next stitch, laying those tails on top, grab my working yarn, pull it through, do my single crochet, and then it's just wrapping those two tails right into my work. You see that? You can't even see the tails. So I'm gonna just continue on working my 10 rounds, but it's looking pretty good. All right, so I have finished the 10 rows, and if you need to do however many rows you would like for the height of a bowl that you want. For me, I did 8 rounds around the base, which gave me a total of 64 stitches. And so I carried those 64 stitches up the top or up the side of the bowl. So here was that first row, row 9, where I just went into the back loop, and this right here is the front loop of that V that we ended up not knitting or crocheting behind. And then I've got row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now I'm gonna put a couple of handles on mine, and you want your handles to be an equal distance apart from one another, which, yes, that's what you want. So for this stitch count, and if you did more or less, you'll want to figure that out. I do have the formula I use for my handle placement. I'll have that in the written pattern, but I'm not going to go through all that in the tutorial. So if you have 64 stitches, I end up doing a single crochet into 13 of the stitches. 2, 3, 4, 12, 13. Oops, gotta pull them both through. Got to pull them both through. Okay, so now I've decided that I want my handle to be the width, okay, of 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to be skipping over these stitches. Okay, now I want my handle to go up a little bit. So I'm going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I've chained 6, and I'm going to go skip over 5. So you can see I'm coming out of this stitch here. So I'm going to skip the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to go into that next stitch and do a single crochet. And I'm going to do a single crochet into the next 27 stitches. Now this is based on a 64 stitch count, which is what we're doing in this tutorial. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 26 and 27. Okay, so okay, let's do this again. I had all this running around and they were having such a good time. I couldn't just make them stop, but we're gonna re-record this part. So I've got my 27 from this handle back here all the way around, and now I'm going to chain 6 for the second handle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we're going to skip 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to go into the 6th one, and we're going to do a single crochet into the next 14. So that's 1, 2, 13 and 14. Just going to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so for this next row, I'm going to add a little bit of height to this handle, a little stability. Okay, so we're going to have our 13 stitches. We're going to do a single crochet into the first 13 stitches. So there's 1. I'll remember to put my stitch marker on there this time. So there's 1, 2, 13. Now, we did a chain 6 here for the handle. So I'm going to do 7, because we did 6 here, we did a chain of 6. I'm going to do 7 single crochets around this handle. So I'm going to go under the handle, pull my working yarn through and through. So there's 1 single crochet. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now with these going around the handle, I love how that looks. And I can spread them out a little bit so they spread across that entire handle. Now I'm going to do a single crochet into the top of each of these next 27 stitches. Make sure you start at the first one here, okay? You're going to do a single crochet in the top of each of the next 27 stitches, all the way up to that next handle. Okay, so I'm coming right up to that next handle, and you see this one is still attached to the basket, so I can do this as 27. Now I'm going to do, because I chained 6, I'm going to do 7 single crochets around the handle. So there's 1 and 2, 3, 4, 6 and 7. And then we're going to do our single crochets into these 14 stitches to our marker, making sure we get that first one, okay? So you've got 14 stitches from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So make sure you get that very first one right here. You see that? This was our first stitch of the row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 right in here. Okay, you want to make sure you get that first one in there. We're going to do single crochets into the next 14 stitches back to our beginning of round. (13) and 14. Okay, so this is going to be our final row of single crochets. All right, and we're basically going to single crochet in the top of all the stitches, and when we get to the handle, we're going to do a single crochet into the top of each of these stitches. Okay, we're not going to go through and around the handle this time. This time we're going to do a single crochet in the top of each of these stitches. So I'm at the handle, okay, and I'm going to do a single crochet in the top of each one of these stitches. Okay, you see this stitch here? Last round I went around the handle. This time I'm actually going to do a single crochet in the top of that stitch. All through the handle. Now I'll go across these 27 stitches in the back. I'm basically just going to do a single crochet all the way around this time. And once I've gone across the handle, I have 14 stitches remaining, leading me back to the beginning of the round. Okay, so I am back to the beginning of my round. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take my stitch marker out. Now I do not have enough blue to make it a round again. Ask me how I know. Ask me. I will have included this in the introduction of this video, but I went all the way around the top and realized I did not have enough, and so I ended up taking out, and instead of having 10 rows up the side of the wall, I had to take out one, and I only have 9. So I'm gonna set my spare wool aside that I'm not gonna use. Okay, so for this final round, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a single crochet into each stitch, but just using the black. Okay, I'm hoping I have enough black to get all the way around. So I'm going to do a single crochet over the top of each stitch, just using the black, just to give it a nice finishing edge. And I'm just carrying the tail of the blue across the top of my work. So as I'm working these black single crochets, it is going right over the top of that blue tail. Okay, so I'm just going to go into each stitch and do a single crochet right over the top of this blue tail. And I'm going to just give the top edge just a nice clean border of black single crochets in just the black wool. Okay. I'm going to do that all the way around. And I'm just going all the way across with this tail. You don't have to. Maybe you prefer weaving them in. I don't like weaving in ends, but you absolutely can do that. I choose to just work them right into my project if I can. Okay, I'm coming back up to the beginning of this last round, or this last stitch. And boy, you guys, I'm cutting it so close. I have just this much left. Okay, So I'm going to take this stitch marker out and I'm going to do a slip stitch into that very first stitch. Okay, I'm going to pull this through and tighten it down. I'm going to cut this end. Let you guys see what I'm doing. I'm going to cut this end. And I mean, this is it. This is all I have left of the black. So I will weigh that. If it is a gram, I will subtract it from my total. But if it's not a gram, I'm taking credit for it. All right, so I'm going to take my tapestry needle. I'm going to thread it in here. Okay. And I'm going to be working on the inside. Okay. Hopefully I can get this at an angle where you guys can see it. I'm going to work on the inside, and I am going to just work this through a few of these stitches. Okay. And go down, go back and forth. Just get that in there. And you know, with this being the type of wool that it is, I'm not worried about this coming out. I mean, I think these fibers are so grabby that it's going to, I'm not going to have to worry about it. I honestly, as I was making this one today, I was like, oh, I wonder if I could find somebody to teach me how to felt. Because wouldn't this be a cool felted bowl? Ugh, I don't know anything about felting, like next to nothing, except it's a bad thing if it happens to my knitted sweaters. It's really all I know about it. So here, I'm gonna cut this end off. Go back up a couple more. Okay. I can cut this. And then I also have these ends down here on the bottom that I have to weave in. And I will not do those together. I will do these individually. So I'll thread each of these in individually. I'm not gonna do them, I want them to go opposite directions. Okay. So I've got the black one threaded at the moment. I'm just gonna go through a couple of these. It doesn't really matter as long as you've got it secured in there somehow. So that one's probably good. So I'm going to cut this one. There we go. Then I'll do the light blue one that we started with. If I can get it threaded. Some serious bulk here, you guys. Okay, so this time I'll go this direction. Okay, sorry the camera's wiggling. There we go. I'm gonna cut that one. Sorry, you can hear the kids playing. in the background through this entire video, but everybody's happy and having fun. So, okay. So I'm gonna get it to take its shape. I'll let you watch a bit of that. I mean, with our tension being as tight as it was, look at those handles. I mean, it's just gonna hold its form really, really well. So I am gonna go get some product pictures. I'll insert some final object pictures here. And, you know, thank you, Anthony, for letting me use your wool. And we will see what he decides to do with this bowl, since he said he wanted it if I used his wool for it. So, all right, you guys, thanks for watching. Okay, so now I'm going to figure out the yardage that I used for this project. Now, with the black, this is all that I have left. Okay, so I'm gonna put it on the scale, and if it does not go for 1 gram, I'm just gonna say that I used it all. So right here, the bottom 2 were the black skeins. And I have, if you look at the top here, how many grams do I have left? I have no grams left. And it'll automatically do the math for me. Now, the light blue was number 250, and I had no grams left of that. So I'll put a 0 in there. Now, this dark blue, and I may have those backwards, but it doesn't matter for yardage. So this is how much I have left of the dark blue. Okay, so I'm gonna put it on here. And it says that I have 4 grams left. So in this cell, I'm gonna say that I have 4 grams left, and I'm gonna hit enter. And it subtracted the 4 from the 101, and it gives me the yardage that I'm using for all of that. So that's the yardage I've used for this. And I can go here, because this was a finished object, and I can make these all blue. And then I'm going to go over here, and today is the 22nd. So I'll say 2/22 of 24. For all of those, not that I need to, but there we go. So I will have a few more, I'm gonna do a few more bowls, and I'll have those patterns up on the Ko-fi account. But you guys, thank you so much. I've had such a good time with this, and I've had such great feedback. So I really do appreciate you watching, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.